WPIAL podcast on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Don Rebel with you, getting ready to talk some playoffs. I always, now that we don't have, with the championships are here this weekend and down on the North Shore the following weekend, the old highway to Hines, which everybody stole, but that's okay. That's what people do in this business. That was our thing. And the avenue to Acrashore, the path, whatever. This year, the path to Pine Richland. So I just started calling it November football. That's what it is, right? November football. You got to make the playoffs to participate. Well, that's not even true this year because the first round and some quarterfinal games are taking place on October 31st, Halloween. So we'll just wait. We'll just say it's the WPIAL playoffs and go with that. By the way, we're going to start off this podcast before we get to the games saying that maybe a good omen for Valley and York. Now, why am I bringing up the Vikings and the Cougars? Well, last year, the longest WPIAL playoff drought amongst WPIAL teams, Bronzeville, actually, it's been 25 years, but we're not going to go and talk about the independent teams. Amongst WPIAL teams, the longest playoff drought was Carleton. 2001 was the last time they were in playoffs, but that drought ended last year when they made the WPIAL playoffs. So coming into this year, the longest playoff drought, 12 years, was Hopewell. The last time the Vikings made the playoffs was 2012. Bam, Hopewell makes the playoffs. Well, now the current longest playoff drought is 12 years. Both Valley and York last made the WPIAL postseason in 2013. So if this string of raining on playoff droughts continues, then next year might be a good year for the Vikings and the Cougars. We shall see. There are 8 other teams whose last playoff appearance goes back before this decade, 2019 and further. Mentioned Valley and York, last time they made the playoffs is 2013. Others that really could use a playoff berth to end all this talk of drought. Hempfield, last time the Spartans made it, 2016. Looked like they were off to a good start this year before fading in 6A. Baldwin, you would think, whoa, they got to be high on this list. 2019 was the last time. So we're only talking, 6 years? Yeah, 6 years that the Highlanders haven't made it, assuming they're still a WPIAL team next year. Ringgold is at 2016. Quaker Valley, 2018. Charleroi, 2019. 2019 was the last time Freedom made the playoffs. Summit Academy is 2017, but that's only a 7-year drought because they did not participate in the 2020 COVID year. They did not play that season, so that kind of factors in. And Northgate, 2016 was the last time the Flames torched the postseason. So there you have it, for whatever that means. All right, let's talk about the 2025 playoffs. Begins in all five of the 6 classifications. 6A, again, only 4 playoff teams. So the district, when they set up this new playoff format before the 2024 season, decided 4 teams, no first-round games, obviously, no quarterfinals. They go straight to the semis, but instead of playing the semis, taking a week off, then the finals, or semifinals, championships, taking a week off, and then state playoffs, they decided to take the week off before the playoffs actually begin. So 6A begins next week with the semifinals. Class 5A, 4 first-round matchups. Shaler, the number 8 seed, 3-7. 3-7 for an 8 seed. They'll be hosting the 4-6 Kiski area Cavaliers. Both of these teams earned their spots. Kiski area finished third in the Big East Conference. Shaler finished tied for second and actually got the second spot out of the Northeast Conference. The winner moves on to play Pine Richland, the number 1 seed in the 5A tournament. Armstrong, a lot of talk. How did the Riverhawks get in? How did South Fayette not get in? When you really start breaking it down and comparing and looking, it is hard to figure out. On one hand, I guess it's kind of easy to figure out on another hand. But the Riverhawks are in. Congratulations. The 4th team out of the Big East Conference, 4-6. They make the long trek from the Northeast to the West to take on the Moon Tigers. Runners up in the Allegheny 6 Conference, Moon at 7-3. The winner will move on to play the 4th seed Penn Trafford Warriors, top 4 seeds, not playing this weekend with first-round byes. 10th seed is the North Hills Indians, 3-7, 3rd place out of the Northeast Conference. They will take on the Bethel Park Blackhawks. 4th place out of the Allegheny 6 Conference. That's a wild card, and yet they get a 7th seed. So the committee thinking highly of the Hawks. When they score, they win. The times their offense has struggled is when they have not lost or they have not won. They're 6-4 in the season. North Hills at Bethel Park, Friday at 7. All these games kick off at 7 o'clock. The winner plays number 2, Peters Township, in the quarterfinals. Finally, number 11, Plum. We talk about getting into the postseason in dramatic fashion. Lined up for what appeared to be a game-winning field goal. It's blocked. Kicker picks it up and sort of bull rushed. It was like a big pile of humanity pushed into the end zone. Plum wins. They finish in 4th place after all the tiebreakers in the Northeast Conference, and they're awarded one of the wild card spots, 5-5. They will take on the Upper St. Clair Panthers, the number 3 team out of the Allegheny 6, despite winning 8 of their 10 games. There are only 2 losses. First place, Peters Township. Second place, Moon. Winner of Plummet, Upper St. Clair, on Friday takes on number 3, Woodland Hills. All right, 4A, again, a lot of discussion. Don't want to beat a dead horse, but there's just so many head scratchers when it comes to Class 4A. But whatever, there were head scratchers last year as well. It's tough to seed 8 good teams in 4 games in Class 4A, but some of the decision-making, you'd really love to find out how they really felt when they were putting those brackets together, to be honest with you. No argument at all at the number 1 seed. It's the McKeesport Tigers, winners of the Greater Allegheny Conference, and really have played so much better than early in the season when they were playing without stud running back Keemon Spell. He's healthy. That's trouble for the rest of 4A. 7-3, they will host also at 7-3 the Chartiers Valley Colts. CV gets one of the 2 wild cards in 4A as the 3rd place finisher in the Big 6 Conference. Good matchup, 5 versus 4. I was just talking to Chris Harlan. He says might be a first-time ever matchup between 2 of the all-time greats when it comes to WPIAL coaching, Bill Cherpak at Thomas Jefferson and Eric Kasparovich at Mars. They have not pathed. They have not coached against each other. They will on Friday in Jefferson Hills. Number 5, Mars, 8-2, runners-up in the Greater Allegheny Conference. Number 4, Thomas Jefferson, 8-2, runners-up in the Big 6 Conference. That should be a good one. Number 2 seed is the Trinity Hillers. Outstanding season. They have a very, very good and underrated quarterback in Jonah Williamson. 6-4, winners of the Big 6 Conference, number 2 seed. They will be hosting the Aliquippa Quips. Oh, that long 31-year streak of playoff berths was kind of up for grabs until week 9. They pasted Ambridge and got a break with West Allegheny falling to Montour. If West Allegheny wins, does Aliquippa get in? They would have been on the bubble big time, but they're in. 6-3. No Marquise Council Jr. That's a big loss for them, their quarterback. 6-3 Aliquippa, 6-4 Trinity in Washington County, Friday at 7 o'clock. And finally, the two teams, and again, this is, again, very confusing. Why the two teams in the deepest conference? Yes, there's Ambridge. Blackhawk struggled in this conference as well, but you look at the big four, the top four: Newcastle, Montour, Aliquippa, West Allegheny. Pretty strong. Yet the two teams that finished tied for the conference championship are meeting for the second time this year at Taggart Stadium in Newcastle. It's the 8-2 Red Hurricanes hosting the 7-3 Montour Spartans, finishing strong. Wins at Aliquippa in Week 8. Win and you're in. Victory in Week 9 at West Allegheny. Again, should be a good one. Montour and Newcastle rounding out the 4A quarterfinals. All right, let's go to 3A now. For like 5A, 4 first-round byes: Avonworth, Imani Christian, Central Valley, and Elizabeth Forward not playing this weekend, and they will be awaiting their opponents for the quarterfinals next weekend. The 9-8 matchup, the 5-5 Beaver Bobcats out of the Western Hills Conference taking on the Freeport Yellow Jackets, 7-3, a long undefeated run this season before losing 3 of their last 4, I believe. The Yellow Jackets losing last week, a game that they could have had a share of the conference championship. They got beat pretty good by Imani Christian. But the Yellow Jackets hosting Beaver. The winner moves on to take on top seed undefeated Avonworth. 12th seed, the Burrell Buccaneers. They get one of the wild card spots out of the Allegheny 7 Conference, 4-6. They will be taking on the North Catholic Trojans, third place finishers out of the Western Hills Conference, 7-3. The Bucks and the Trojans, with the winner moving on to play at number 4 Elizabeth Forward next week. Hopewell Vikings, mentioned them before, breaking that playoff drought since first time since 2012 into the postseason as the wild card team out of the Western Hills Conference. They finished in 5th place, so a lot of love, and rightly so, for the Western Hills Conference. Hopewell at 6-4 will visit the Southmoreland Skies, the number 7 seed. Only one loss. That was to Elizabeth Forward a couple weeks ago. 9-1 for Southmoreland. Russ Grimm Stadium will be rocking for that one, with the winner advancing to play Imani Christian in the quarterfinals. And finally, dangerous team, the 11th seed Derry Trojans, finished strong this year, 6-4, and third place in the Interstate Conference. They'll be visiting the 6th seed Highlands Golden Rams, the runners-up in the Allegheny 7 Conference, 7-3 their record. Derry and Highlands, I think that'll be a really good one, with the winner moving on to play at number 3 Central Valley next week. Class 2A first round, there are 5 games, so only 3 first-round byes. Number 1, Seton LaSalle, number 2, Western Beaver, and number 3, Steel Valley, not playing this weekend. The 8-9 matchup, 9th seed, Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. They were in this game last year as the number 8 seed, but they're on the road this season, 5-5, a wild card team, the 4th place team out of the Allegheny Conference in 2A. Headed north to Bessemer to take on the Mohawk Warriors. Strong finish for Mohawk to finish in a tie for 3rd place in the Midwestern Athletic Conference. After all the tiebreakers, they end up as the 3rd place team, earning their keep and earning a number 8 seed and a home playoff game. They're 3-0 at home over the last decade in the first round of the postseason. Winner of Olsh at Mohawk will take on number 1 Seton LaSalle next week. The fourth seed is the South Allegheny Gladiators. I think everybody thought they take care of business, finish undefeated, and win the Allegheny Conference Championship outright. They will be the number one seed. Didn't work out that way. Steel Valley came in and really played well, beating South Allegheny last week, dropping the Gladiators into a tie. They still are conference champions with Steel Valley and Apollo Ridge, but they will be playing instead of having a first-round bye. The Gladiators will be hosting the Waynesburg Central Raiders out of the Century Conference, third-place finisher, 5-5. Fourth place finisher at 5-5. They get one of the wild cards. Waynesburg and South Allegheny, these two teams played in the first round a year ago, with South Allegheny winning big at home over Waynesburg. The fifth seed is the Washington Little Prexies. They were playing in the Century Conference Championship game, the pseudo championship game, in week 9, losing to St. LaSalle, so they finish in second place. And they will be hosting the Beaver Falls Tigers. Tough loss for Beaver Falls in week 9. They were leading for a majority of the game, lost by 1 to Elwood City as the Wolverines came back to secure second place in the MAC. Beaver Falls, 3 straight years, 21, 22, 23, they reached the WPIAL finals. 24, they fall completely off the earth and finish winless at 0-10. They lose their first 4. Week 4 of the season, we're talking about a 14-game losing streak for Beaver Falls, but they really turned it around. Kudos to the Tigers. 4-6, they do earn one of the wild cards as a fifth-place team out of the Midwestern Athletic Conference. Beaver Falls and Washington, dripping with tradition, those two schools, Friday night at 7 o'clock. Winner of that one will play the winner of the Waynesburg South Allegheny game. 7th seed, Apollo Ridge, a share of the conference championship after they won last week and Steel Valley knocked off South Allegheny. The Vikings at 7-3 at Owen Field, and Apollo will be hosting the Riverside Panthers. Panthers had a chance to finish in second place, lost to Mohawk in week 9, so they finish in the 4th place. They do get a wild card at 5-5 and will be headed to Apollo Ridge on Friday night. Winner of that game moves on to take on the MAC Conference champions, the Western Beaver Golden Beavers in Industry, next week in a quarterfinal matchup. Finally, Elwood City, the Wolverines, 6-4, the number 2 team out of the Midwestern Athletic Conference, hosting the Keystone Oaks Golden Eagles, the number 3 team out of the Century Conference. They're 4-6 reversed records, with the winner advancing to the quarterfinals to head to Campbell Field in Munhall next week to take on the Steel Valley Ironmen. All right, one class left. That's Class A, and that's a full slate. Old school, 16-team bracket, no buys, no prelim games. The Avella Eagles, the 4th-place team out of the Tri-County South, they actually tied in the tiebreaker with Beth Center. They were tied with Beth Center and Carmichael's. They had all beat each other, so they were all 1-1 head-to-head. Tiebreaker points, Avella and Beth Center were even, but Avella beat Beth Center this year, so that gives them 4th place, and they get a wild card. 6-4, the Avella Eagles. At least it's not a long journey as they head to McDonald to take on the undefeated 2-time defending champion Fort Cherry Rangers at 10-0. Good one in the 8-9 game. The Leechburg Blue Devils get the 8th seed and will be hosting on Friday night. They are 7-3, number 2 team out of the Eastern Conference. Head-scratching loss, though, in week 9 to Greensburg Central Catholic that really helped the Centurions, which we'll talk about. Leechburg hosting the Neshannock Lancers, the number 3 team out of the Big 7 Conference. They had a chance to be conference champions week 7, I think it was. Lost to Southside, and then week 9, they lost to Laurel, the top 2 teams in the Big 7. 7-3 Lancers, 7-3 Blue Devils, meeting on Friday night at 7 o'clock at Leechburg. The Laurel Spartans, just talked about them. They finished strong with victories over Southside in week 8 and Neshannock in week 9. 9-1. Only loss was to Bishop Canevin in a non-conference game earlier this year. The Green Machine will be home to the Jefferson Morgan Rockets. Oh, a long trek from Greene County to Lawrence County for the Rockets. 8-2 with losses late in the season to Bentworth and also to California in Week 9. They could have had a share of the Tri-County South Conference Championship with a victory, but after going undefeated in the regular season last year, Jefferson Morgan 8-2 at 9-1 Laurel. 12th seed, the Chartiers Houston Buccaneers back into the postseason. The Bucks, the third place team out of the Black Hills Conference at 7-3, head to Hookstown. They will be taking on the Southside Rams, the number 5 seed, the runners up in the Big 7 Conference, with a record of 8-2. Bottom of the bracket, number 2 seed, the Clairton Bears. Tyler Boyd Stadium will be hosting its first playoff game. Clairton at 9-1, winners of 9 straight, all via shutout, will be taking on old rival, the Monessen Greyhounds. Monessen beat Cornell for 4th place in the Black Hills Conference, and that earned them a wild card at 6-4. Monessen at Clairton. The Bentworth Bearcats, runners up to California in the Tri-County South, 8-2 record, will be hosting the Jeannette Jayhawks, the number 3 team out of the Eastern Conference. Jeannette with a record of 7-3 as the 10th seed. Jeannette at Bentworth. Mentioned Greensburg Central Catholic earlier. Not too many people had them on the radar as far as bubble teams heading into Week 9, but a very impressive victory over Leechburg gets the Centurions in. They earn a wild card by finishing in 5th place in the Eastern Conference. And the Eastern Conference gets 5 teams, only 3 for the Big 7 Conference. GCC at 5-5 heads to Dormont Stadium, where they will battle the number 3 seed Bishop Canevin Crusaders, the runners-up in the Black Hills Conference, with a record of 7-3. And finally, the Fraser Commodores into the postseason, the number 4 team out of the Eastern Conference. They earn a wild card, and at 6-4 deserved a wild card. They are heading south. I think it's south from Perryopolis to California to take on the 6th seed and Tri-County South Conference outright champions, the California Trojans, at 9-1. And of course, fair or unfair, the big question going into this week, will the Tri-County South win a football playoff game? We'll wait and see. California hosting Fraser, Bentworth hosting Jeannette, Jefferson Morgan at Laurel. And the odds are not in the favors of the Avella Eagles, but they are visiting undefeated Fort Cherry. 3 City League schools are in action tomorrow. These are PIAA regional semifinals in 5A, not tomorrow, Friday. The 4-5 Alderdice Dragons take on the undefeated 10-0 Hollidaysburg Golden Tigers from District 6. That's a 5A regional semifinal game. In 4A, the newly minted City League champion Wildcats from University Prep at 7-2 head northeast. They will take on District 9's Clearfield Bison at 7-3. That game is at Brookville High School at 7 o'clock Friday, a 4A regional semifinal. And in 2A, the Perry Commodores, 1-7, but they're still part of the field of teams trying to get into the PIAA playoffs. Perry will be visiting the Central Clarion Wildcats with a record of 6-4. That's a 2A regional semifinal. If you're asking, what about Westinghouse? Westinghouse actually in pretty good shape. They are not only into the PIAA playoffs, they don't have to play any regionals. They have 2 weeks off. They lost to University Prep last week. This week, the regional semifinals. Next week, the regional finals, and they're already off and into the PIAA quarterfinals. So the Bulldogs must sit and wait to see who they will play in the state playoffs. These other 3 teams, Alderdice, University Prep, and Perry, trying to play their way into the PIAA postseason. So there you have it. All the action Friday, nothing going on Saturday as far as high school football. Busy in other sports, volleyball championships, 2 more soccer championships on Saturday. Got the state cross country, state girls singles and doubles championships. So it's a busy weekend, but all of the Friday football in these parts are on Friday night. Interesting game Saturday, by the way, in the state. It's the Philadelphia Catholic League 6A championship game. St. Joe's Prep, everybody knows about them, the reigning state champions, have their hands full. They take on LaSalle College, the same Explorers team that beat Central Catholic in week 0 and also beat St. Joe's Prep a few weeks ago. So that's Saturday for the Philadelphia Catholic League Championship in 6A, with the winner advancing to the state. So the Hawks could be already ousted if they lose on Saturday. We'll keep our eye on that as well. Thanks to our producer, Chris Lackner. We're going to be back normal. We got games on the network, audio. We no longer have the video rights. This is year 3 of that. So I think everybody's used to it. NFHS with the video rights, but to watch video, you have to go there. But we will have audio broadcasts on our website on Friday. Check it out, hssn.triblive.com. And the scoreboard show afterward from 9:30 until 11 o'clock. All right. Thanks to our producer, Chris Lackner. I'm Don Rebel. We thank you, and get ready. Hopefully more treats than tricks on Friday as we open up the gates to the WPIAL playoffs here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.